Welcome to the M. I'm Pastor Barrett Berry. We're here for Charlotte Conversations. We're joined today by Sahaad, Washington. We're talking about housing, how to qualify to get a house in Charlotte. Charlotte is one of the fastest growing cities in the country. Yeah, in the whole country. I think we rank 17th in population. Less than 30 years ago, there were about 250,000 people in the city of Charlotte. Today, we're tilting towards 1 million people just in the city proper. As you see, there's houses going up everywhere, there's townhomes going up everywhere. It's getting to a place that we didn't recognize even 10 years ago. I lived in Steel Creek on Lake Wiley, and 15 years ago, it was a dirt road to my house, a dirt road. Now today there's a mall and shopping and just every imaginable thing. When I first moved here less than 7 years ago, there was only a McDonald's and a gas station where I live in Berwick area. Now there's a whole town. So things are changing, and so we're challenged now. How do we compete and qualify for housing? So we want to share with you today here, Charlotte Conversations, and I'll let her tell a little bit who she is. Sahaad, who are you?
My name is Sahaad Washington. I'm a licensed mortgage loan originator and a home buyer advocate. I have been here in Charlotte for a little more than 2 years. I sit on the board of the Charlotte Crown Realtors Association as the first vice, and I am the ambassador for the Black Homeownership Initiative at Movement Mortgage.
Nice, nice. So how long have you been in the mortgage business?
We're pushing 10 years now.
How's it been for you? What's the biggest challenge being a mortgage lender?
Keeping people motivated. Keeping people really motivated and on their journey. Regardless where you start, you know, everybody has a different plan. Okay, very good. So lead us into the thought of, I'm here in Charlotte, I want to buy my first home. I see that things have changed. Before there was a plethora of available homes, then there was a lack of available homes, and then the interest rate shifted and things are changing. Should we be calm about this, or should we be on alert? I don't know that you should be on alert, but you have to be prepared. That is really what it comes down to. Regardless if the interest rates change, if the market changes, it's all going to come down to the foundation of if you're prepared.
If you're prepared?
Yes.
So what does a person need to do to get qualified to buy a home?
So to be qualified, we're looking for work history, that you have stable employment or stable income, whatever that looks like for you. Residency history. And then I call it getting through the CIA. That's credit, income, assets. So it's your credit profile, your income, and your assets are your savings, what you have saved up to purchase a home.
So why, if I have to, like, no down payment, are there no down payment plans?
There are no down payment programs. What I will say is that regardless of what program you use, you cannot buy a house for free. You cannot buy a house for free. You are going to need some of your own money invested in your transaction and for your upfront cost to buy a home.
So what would be the upfront cost?
So you have, in the state of North Carolina, we have earnest money deposit and due diligence. Earnest money is your sign of good faith that you're going to purchase this home. Your due diligence is money paid to the seller of the property if for any reason you back out of your transaction. That is non-refundable, and it goes to the seller of the property. You also have your homeowner's inspection, which you can waive, but I strongly suggest that everyone gets a home inspection on their home. That's the report card for the property. And then you also have the appraisal. That is to determine the value of the home, is what you're buying it for, what it's actually worth. And those are upfront expenses, and those can range anywhere from $1,000 up to a couple $1,000s, depending on what market we're in. Just 6 months ago, we had very large deposits, $10,000, $15,000 in due diligence, money that people were willing to put up just to show that they were serious about purchasing the house. And it was more than that a year ago.
Amazing. So I serve on the Board of Equalization and Review here in Mecklenburg County, and we hear property tax appeals. And so what we notice is that appraisals are what people always try to bring in to justify the value of their homes. Most people were ecstatic that the value of their homes went up until we have our tax bills, and so we question them. But what I notice is that some appraisals vary. So it seems like one community has a different quality of appraisal versus another. Have you noticed anything that varies in the fairness of the appraisals of properties?
So how appraisals work is the value of your home, contrary to what you may believe, is if you have a great home with a lot of stuff in it, a lot of amenities, a lot of upgrades, that your house is going to be valued at the highest level. Appraisals are based off of not just your property, but every other property around you that has sold recently. And they're looking at an average. So if you want to list your house at $500,000, but the house to the left and to the right of you only sold for $250,000, your appraisal is not going to come in at $500,000. They're looking at the average of the area within a certain radius to determine the overall area, your neighborhood, and your house, and what sold like your house in regards to size and style, number of bedrooms, in the same area to determine the value.
Yeah, that seems to be an ongoing challenge for a lot of people. What are some of the biggest challenges that applicants face when trying to purchase a home? Right
now it's going to be debt and credit. So most of the country currently is living above their means. 1 in 6 car payments is over $1,000 just for their vehicle.
That's amazing.
Okay. The country is living in debt. So when you're qualifying to buy a house, you have to fit your new home into your budget along with all of the other debts that you pay for. So debt is going to be number one right now. The next is credit profile. I say that there is this obsession that if you have a good credit score that you're automatically qualified, and that's not the case. We're looking at your whole credit profile. You may have a lower score, but if your credit is strong and you have lots of different types of accounts and you're paying everything on time, you may have a stronger profile than someone that has an excellent score, but there's nothing on their report. It comes down to the overall profile, and there's different components that have to come together so that you can qualify. It is not just your credit score.
That's what people think. What about these student loans? It's been in the news a lot lately of things being banished and things being left. Can we get around student loans, or how much do they impact one's profile?
Student loans impact your mortgage application a lot. So there's 3 different ways that you can look at student loans when you're doing a mortgage application. There are 0 monthly payments. A 0 monthly payment we can use on a conventional loan. Deferment is not a payment plan. Deferment means just that. It is deferred. A 0 monthly payment plan means you're in an active agreement, and the student loan provider has determined that your payment will be $0 a month based on your income. That's a payment plan. If you're on neither, we look at either 1% of the overall student loan balance or 0.5%. Now, if you went to school, even just 1% of your total student loan balance, that can add up pretty quickly. And we're required to use that if you're not on a payment plan. And in certain mortgage programs, like our government-backed programs, you can be on a payment plan as long as it's over $0. So for example, if your payment plan is $1, we can use $1, but we cannot use 0. So there's some flexibility around student loans, but not a lot.
Repeat that again. You can use $1?
Yes. So if you're on a payment plan, government-backed loans say, we can use your payment plan as long as it's not $0. So anything over $0 we can use. So hypothetically, if you got on a payment plan where it was $1, I can use that. But if there's no payment plan, I have to use either 0.5% or 1%.
Now, in America right now, blacks and whites have a large disparity as far as home ownership.
Yes.
So what are some of the tactics that we can use as black folks in America to get homes? And I don't even know what the challenge is. I don't even know why there's such a disparity. So what do we need to do? Well,
that's a fully loaded question right there, why there's a disparity. But for the sake of time, not so much a tactic, but what everyone can do regardless of your color, but especially if you are in the black and brown community, is to educate yourself. Understand your budget, understand that you have to save money, and understand that you need to pay your bills on time and have a strong credit profile. I can tell you with servicing majority black and brown community that a lot of the things that I see are around the fundamentals of financial literacy, and that's knowing your budget, being able to save your money, and paying bills on time. That is a lot of what I see. Now, in regards to the wealth gap, you see other communities when it's time to buy a home, and I'm just going to say this because people need to hear it.
Yes.
When other communities come to buy a home, I see their entire family, friends, rally around them to put their money together to make sure that this family gets into a home. In our community, unfortunately, everyone feels like they're on their own island. They either don't want to ask for help, don't have access to help, right? Or there is this sense of pride that you got to do it on your own. And that's not the case. And I see it every day that certain client bases do not want to ask for help or don't want to get the support that they desperately need because they don't want to be told what to do, and that's around mindset. It's less of a color thing, more of that's a mindset.
It's a mindset.
It's a poverty mindset.
So we have to break the poverty mindset so that we can then work collectively, cooperatively, then to find success for one individual, family, with one family. I think maybe we help this family then joins in with us to help the next family.
Yes.
Like that. Okay.
Yes.
Makes sense. It makes sense. What's your role? I mean, why would someone come to you? What's your role? How do you help us out?
So my role is to originate the mortgage loan, to let you know what you qualify for and what type of loan program that you can use. My real role is to be your cheerleader, your support system, the tough love when you need it, give you direction, because there are situations where you don't know what you don't know. You seek out a licensed professional for a reason. Let me do my job.
Yes.
So when I step in, I have to lead. I'm going to lead you with the path of least resistance, right? So that we can get to the finish line. So my role is not just your loan originator, but it's to keep you on the right path so that you don't deviate, so that you don't get distracted, and so that the outside chatter of the world, social media, everybody's auntie, cousins, and friend, when I bought a house, everybody has a story.
Right.
No two mortgage transactions are going to be the same, and your mortgage experience is going to be unique to you, your credit profile, your money, your income. That's your house. Everything is going to be unique to that individual. So my role is to keep them on track.
Keep us on track. Now, out in the community, you see these signs, these yard signs telling them, I'll fix your credit. I'll fix your credit. Is there some sort of secret way or something that magical or people can help assist with fixing our credit?
There's no magic to paying your bills on time.
So what should we do if we do have some things that are, old on our credit? Or can we drop some things from our credit? Or is there something that your mortgage lending points people to assist them with repairing those things that may not be right on the credit reports?
So I'm not a credit professional. However, when you do a loan application, or if you sat with me, we would review the credit report together. And I can tell you that certain things we're going to need to address those, and we might need some more help. And I can refer you to someone that is accredited and that is professional, that I know works. There may be other things that we don't even have to bother at all because they're very old, they're minimal, medical payments. There's certain things that you just don't have to touch. You do not have to have perfect credit to get a mortgage. What I can see on a credit report is if your credit is in a poor position because of old items, those are usually an easier fix. If your credit is in a poor position because you notoriously pay your bills late, that's a you fix. I can't make you pay your bills on time.
Right.
And credit is like trust. It's quick to break, and it takes a long time to recover. So that's how I look at the credit report, and also it's the blueprint of your life. I may not know you, but if I look at your credit report, I can see how you operate. I may be able to say what happened here in 2015, what was going on, because you were doing well and then all of a sudden you started paying your bills late. Credit tells a story, and there is no easy fix, but you can write the next chapter with some help and some support, and we get you back on track. And if you do need a credit professional to send letters on your behalf, to argue with collection companies, credit companies to help you, all of this information is accessible. You could essentially do it yourself, but it's time consuming and you need to be repetitive. That's what you hire a professional for.
That's good stuff. So I want to get my first home. I haven't done it before. My family hasn't owned a home before. So that type of person, where do we start by purchasing a home?
If you do nothing else, start saving money. If you do nothing else, just start saving money in the bank, not in a shoebox, not under a mattress. In the bank. Just start saving. The next thing would be to sit down with yourself, print out a copy of your bank statement, and start looking at where you spend your money so that you can understand your budget. Do you have room for a housing payment? And if so, if you're already paying rent and you know that you should be an owner, we have to look at your expenses, how you're spending your money, so that you can know your budget. No one knows your expenses better than you. I don't get to see daycare bills, grocery bills, how much you pay on gas, how much you do in online shopping. You may have family or folks that you're responsible for taking care of. Those are things that I'm not going to see on the credit report. But if you start going over your expenses and understanding your budget, that's a great place to start. And then consulting with a licensed mortgage loan originator before a realtor. The reason why I say this is the realtor sells the houses. Their job is to identify a home for you. My job is to identify money for you and what's the best way for you to get it. And if we know your budget and your finances, that makes it easier for you to understand what you're going to qualify for and what you can truly afford. Because if you tell me I can't pay more than $2,000 a month, I am not giving you a pre-approval for $500,000 even if you qualify for it, because you just told me you can only really afford $2,000 a month. So that's what you're coming with, prepared. I have my pre-approval. I know my budget. I know what I can afford based on the review that I did with my loan officer. Now I'm ready to hire a real estate professional.
What's the average mortgage right now? Do you know in Charlotte? Ballpark?
Well, the average purchase price for a home in Charlotte, Mecklenburg County is $424,000. That's the average purchase price. With a minimum down payment, and we'll just say 6% interest rate because that's the lower side right now, that monthly payment, just the principal and interest, is $2,548. That's without the taxes, without the homeowner's insurance, without mortgage insurance, without an HOA. It's $2,548.
So we're looking at maybe $3,500 a month.
At least a $3,000 payment if you're doing a minimum down payment. Now, if you have a lot of money to put down, you can adjust that. But if you don't, you're looking at about a $2,500 payment at least if you're purchasing at that price point. Now, if you find a house lower than that, these numbers are going to fluctuate a little bit. But if we're using the average for Charlotte, minimum down payment without anything else, it's already over $2,500.
Yeah. What's the biggest obstacle right now to purchasing a home? And then now we identify the obstacle, what's the solution to purchasing a home in Charlotte?
For Charlotte, the obstacle is affordability, because the prices of the homes here have doubled, but the amount that people are getting paid has not.
Right.
The houses are not affordable if you work a regular, and I'm just going to say regular meaning you're not traveling from out of state where your income is significantly higher because your cost of living is higher, and you can come here to Charlotte and you don't flinch because you were already paying that in your own city. Well, if you live here in Charlotte and you lived here and you're making, $50,000 a year, that's going to be difficult to find a home because the affordability of homes here in Charlotte. The answer is either Charlotte starts building some affordable housing, or you're going to change your location. or families are going to start, everybody's going to be going on to mortgage applications together. As much as we want to do things by ourselves, it might take two. I have two clients right now. They're best of girlfriends. They've been best friends their whole life, and they're buying a house together because they have to. It's going to take both of their income to get them one house here in Charlotte. And that may be what it takes, people coming together.
Strategy.
Yeah.
Right. You had roommates in college. You had roommates when you finished college. You've had roommates in your life, so maybe that's the new tactic going forward. Work together collectively. Now, investment, I have friends who, I do investment properties too, so we want to get an investment property. So is there a best route to take in getting to some investment property, some property to purchase and hold and rent out?
From a mortgage perspective, I would say save. There are different programs out there for investors, but really you would need a realtor to locate those areas where there are investment opportunities, because I'm going to go on someone's budget. Someone moving from California could look at a home in Berwick as an investment opportunity. Okay? If someone is looking for, I'm not looking to spend more than $50,000 and I want to obtain an investment property, that's not going to be in Berwick. You know, so you would need a realtor to determine the areas.
Has there been an uptick in foreclosures in this season?
Not here in Charlotte, and Charlotte's market is very different than the rest of the country because it's so popular right now. The prices are not making anyone who's moving here to Charlotte flinch. So those that have purchased their homes are staying in their homes. There's not a lot of families trying to get out of their home or trying to sell quick, because Charlotte is booming, not just in the housing market, but also in the business market. There's jobs here. So as the city continues to grow and real estate continues to grow here, I don't foresee a huge foreclosure boom happening here in Charlotte. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good.
I don't see it.
Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. What's the biggest conception people have about buying a home in general?
That their process is going to be like someone else's process. Or, you know, well, my mom said, or my aunt said, or my brother said, whoever the peanut gallery is, right? Whoever it is. Everybody's always got something to say when you're going to do your process. But thinking that your process is going to be the same as someone else, that's one. And paying attention to everything that you see on the internet with house hacking. Please, some of these house hacks will put you right in jail, okay? Because a lot of them are not house hacks at all. They're illegal. So that's a misconception, that you're going to house hack your way into home ownership, or that you need 20% down and you need A1 credit and you need a whole bunch of money in the bank. No, you don't. You really don't.
No.
You don't.
Anybody have any questions out there? I see some heads, so while they do that, give us some insight in what neighborhood is popular right now, Charlotte?
All of them.
Okay.
All of them. All of them.
Is there there's not a secret neighborhood that nobody's paying attention to?
No.
Okay, well, I tried that one. No? All right, I saw a hand. Who had a hand? I'll start here and I'll come to you.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for your presentation. I, like probably many people, have young people who are just finishing up college and wanting to forge ahead to home ownership, but may have been given the opportunity to stay home, save a little money, get their footing. How do they enter into the home ownership process if they don't have a rental history from like an apartment? Could I give them a letter, or how would that work if they're staying with a parent?
So you don't need rental history to qualify for a mortgage. They're fine if they're living at home. God bless them if they're able to stay at home and save their money right now. They don't need rental history. If you wanted to provide them, you know, a letter, if they're not necessarily renting from you, they don't need it. If they're living at home, they're living at home. That's okay. You can still apply for a mortgage without rental history.
Very good. It's a question. You have a question?
Hey, Sahaad, thank you for joining us today. I was wondering, as a first-time home buyer, are there programs that are available to assist with that first-time home buying process?
Yes, lots of them. Lots of them. And each down payment assistance program or first-time home buyer program they're all going to come with their own set of requirements, whether they're directly through the financial institution that you apply with. They may have their own. There's also the county offers a program and the state as well. So there's going to be multiple programs that are available to you as a first-time home buyer. And as a second-time home buyer, you can still get down payment assistance if you are a second-time home buyer. And I want to say that to the camera. You can get down payment assistance if you are a second-time home buyer.
Now, what about these programs that I saw a flyer for? If you live here for 5 years, I think we help you with your down payment, but you have to live there for 5 years. Is that a real program?
Yes, and it's 15 years. So those are called soft seconds in mortgage world, meaning you don't feel them or see them, but they're there. So you're borrowing money from an entity. They're not going to make you make any payments on it. But if you live here a certain amount of time, we will forgive the money that we gave you and you never have to pay it back, as long as you're living in this property as your primary residence. For some people, that's wonderful. They're going to live there a long time. For others, they don't like the idea that if I move or if I make this a rental property so I can go on to my next home, I have to pay back a portion of this money. So there's each program has its own little set of requirements, and that's one of them.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I came in a little late, you probably covered it, but what's a good amount that you should have in your savings once you go to like the loan officer, or just so they can kind of see like, okay, you're in good standing, like understand the whole budget thing, and then reviewing your statements and everything, but what's like a solid figure that you should have in your savings account?
So this is an excellent question, and I actually didn't touch on it. This is how you should save if you're looking to buy a house, with the intent that you're not going to use all of this money. We're going to try to find money for you. But if you save like this, for every $100,000 of house I want to purchase, I should save at least $8,000 to $10,000 of my own money, or I should have access to at least $8,000 to $10,000 of my own money. So if the house is $300,000, you should have access to at least $24,000. Now, the goal is that you do not have to use all that money. We're going to try to find you programs, especially if you're a first-time buyer. But if you save like that, you will be prepared in the saving department to buy a home. 100% if you save like that.
This is a great question. So last question from me. What advice would you give someone who's just starting the process?
Mentally prepare yourself to be disciplined, because it's going to take discipline on your side if you need to make a change. It's the worst feeling if you get excited to do something and you're told you can't do this right now because of XYZ. I need you to be mentally prepared to discipline yourself to make whatever changes you need to make to achieve homeownership. And most important, the only thing that everyone in this room knows for absolute certain, without a doubt, is that rent is going up. Okay? So if you don't do this now, if you don't put yourself on the path to get into a home, obtain a home for your family, creating generational wealth, you 100% will be in a position where rent is going up. And it's going to be continuous. It's never going to stop, because they don't need to stop. Somebody is always going to come along to rent. So until you make the decision to buy, no matter how long it takes you, rent is going up.
That's real talk. And soon it's going to be as high as a...
It is already that high. It's already that high.
Right.
Yes.
Well, let's give Sahaad Washington a hand, please.
Thank you.
Is there a way for people to contact you if they're interested in utilizing your services?
Absolutely. If you are on Instagram, if you guys have your phones, I am at The Mortgage Match on Instagram. That's my Instagram handle. And my phone number is 267-629-4181. And I'll have cards as well that I can give out to anyone that wants to talk, do a consultation. You don't have to apply. If you want to just sit down, do a soft inquiry to your credit report so you can get an idea where you're at, I am more than welcome to help you. I look forward to being a part of your journey.
Awesome. Awesome. Give her another hand for that, to help us. We believe in generational wealth, to create that from this generation to the next generation. The word of the Lord says that you should be able to prepare for your children's children. And so that's your grandkids should live off of you. Hey, so excited about today. Next week we have a great program as well. We have someone coming in, Keisha and her friend. They're going to come talk about a wrap. What they show? Wellness Recovery Action Plan. Wellness Recovery Action Plan. It's going to be awesome. Everybody who attends next week will get a Wellness Recovery Action Plan. We'll deal with how to manage your stress and your depression and your victories. It's just going to be a great, great program next week. And then after that, we have another Leslie Ware, who's right here. She'll be having a conversation. There she is, raising her hand up. We're going to have the conversation. We're going to talk about sex. I know y'all don't talk about it at all, but we're going to talk about it, but we're going to do it from a clinical perspective in two Sundays from now. We're really excited about that. And we have other programs. CMS asked if they could come in August, so CMS is going to bring their leadership team here, and we're going to talk about education. He's wrapping me up. So I'm Pastor Barrett of the the Empowerment of Ministries. This is Charlotte Conversation. Thank you for joining us here today. We'll come back every Sunday until we get tired of doing it at 11 a.m. here. Join us on our website, theelm.church. You can watch us live there at 11 a.m. Or you can join us on our social media, Empower Living Ministries, or go to mine, Barrett Berry. All right? Always remember this. We love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. God bless.